On the record, in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Marcus Jefferson, file number 24-01972.
Your Honor, case number carried on behalf of the people, making a motion to practice under Michigan Code number 8.120.
Motion granted.
Attorney Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office here to represent Mr. Jefferson, who is standing to my right.
Okay, Mr. Jefferson states that for a preliminary examination, however, I indicated we would treat it as another probable cause conference. You were attempting to hire an attorney, is that accurate?
Yeah, I got a job and my paycheck was too far to come, so I ended up having to get a court appointment.
Okay, let's see, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, we would just like to get a preliminary exam date at this time.
Okay, so Mr. Jefferson, I'm going to advise you that you have the right, or you have the right to have had your exam within 21 days of the date that you're arraigned. Due to the delay of you getting counsel, are you willing to waive the 21-day timeline so I can reset this? September 12th at 9.
That again?
September 12th at 9 a.m. You have any questions?
No.
Bond at 10,000 personal recognizance will continue. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing further from the people. Thank you.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you. You're all set.
Jeff.
On the record, in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Bree and Anna Jane Pocan, file number 24-01521.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jennifer Lund on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Your Honor. Tara Nickel from the Eagle County Public Defender's Office on behalf of Ms. Donnelly this morning, representing Ms. Pocan, who is on.
Okay, Ms. Pocan, can you hear me? Can you hear me? You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay, today was the date that was originally scheduled for a preliminary examination. However, because the paperwork hadn't been processed to appoint her counsel, I said I would treat it as another PCC. She does have counsel now, be Ms. Donnelly, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and do you know if she's received discovery?
At this point, we received the police report. There was a protective order to get some other information. I spoke to Ms. Lawton this morning. There is some other discovery that our office does not have, that Ms. Lawton did submit a request to have that to our office.
I did sign that protective order yesterday. I know that there's some other discovery pending, but the expectation at this point is we're going to continue to examine.
That's correct. That is correct.
Okay, so let's see, Ms. Pocan, you did have the right to have your examination within 21 days of the date that you were arraigned, but because the paperwork got delayed for some reason, I'm going to find good cause to adjourn your exam and go beyond the 21-day timeline, okay?
Okay.
September 26th at 9. September 26th at 9 is going to be the next date for your examination, okay?
The 26th, 9 a.m.
Yes, and you need to appear in person for that date, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
Not from the people.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, you're all set.
Thank you.
What's your name, ma'am? You're muted.
Katherine Place.
Oh. Mr. Goodrich stepped out. Okay, Mr. Goodrich. On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Timothy Lockhart, file number 23-03177, Council Green.
Good morning, Your Honor. Case number Terrell on behalf of the people.
And good morning, Your Honor. Dustin Boots for Timothy Lawcox is here to my right.
Okay. So this time was scheduled for preliminary examination. And there's a request to adjourn.
That's right, Your Honor. And I know this case is very long in the tooth for the district court. We've been here for I think, the last 9 months or so. There have been a couple of adjournments. Initially, over my objection, last time we were here, Ms. Maycomer was appearing from the prosecutor's office. I presented her with some evidence that we wanted to present. And this is also sort of complex financial crimes case, and there's been a lot of stuff in the prosecutor's office. When I spoke with Ms. Maycomer last time, she and I had agreed that we would present some witnesses that their detective could interview to potentially resolve the situation without a preliminary examination. My client had to do some legwork to talk to people and get me the information. We weren't able to get that to the prosecutor in a timely fashion. Mr. Markarian's also playing catch up, being that this is his first time on the case. So for all those reasons, we're asking for another adjournment. Understand if the court has reservations, given how long it's been here.
Okay, so I know that my last note indicated that the parties believed that some further investigation would be helpful. So this is the same investigation we're talking about 2 months later? Why does it take so long to get the information to the prosecutor's office?
I guess. So the theory of the case in this case is that my client didn't steal, he did as he was directed by his employer. And we are trying to find other people who would be willing to I guess lend credence to that theory of the case. That includes people who still work for the same employer. We understand, I think understandably from their end, reluctance to come forward. We do have one former employee who's willing to talk, but it took me a while to get that information from my client, and that's why it's just not being the prosecutor.
So your belief is this information is not relevant to this particular case, but a general environment that they work under?
No, Your Honor, this is, I think, people with personal knowledge about the events related to this case.
Okay, and so you turned over names of those potential people to the prosecutor's office, is what you're
No,
saying?
I just received those names.
So why wouldn't you subpoena them as witnesses for the exam then?
I haven't had a chance to speak to them, Your Honor. I don't want to put people on the stand who I haven't spoken to them. I don't know for sure what they're going to say. It may not be
Okay.
relevant.
So then you haven't really turned over, what did you turn over then? Not those names, just
No.
some other information?
No, Your Honor, that I just received this information personally.
Okay,
And I spoke to Mr. Markarian about it this morning. Tried to reach out to Ms. Petrosky, who I didn't realize wasn't signed here courtroom any longer.
The people are prepared to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor, we can be, I haven't checked the hall for necessary witnesses yet, so I'm not sure if that you're.
But you're not objecting to his request for adjournment?
No, Your Honor, given the information that was provided, and my just filling in now on it. I did talk with Ms. Maycomer, who handled it last time we were here. She mentioned this witness list, but we didn't have the kind of specifics that we were informed of today of maybe positions that they worked at, former employees, things like that. So we do have a little more detail, although we don't have names and a complete disclosure.
Okay, can you tell me how much time you think this is gonna take, because this is the last adjournment for this?
How long the preliminary examination will take?
You know, how long this exchange is gonna take, because I'm gonna give you your next date.
Your Honor, I'll defer to the court. I mean, if you tell us 2 weeks from now, we'll be with you.
October 3rd. at
October
9:30.
3rd is the next date, at
30.
9:30. Do you have any questions for the court today?
No, ma'am.
Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing further from the people, thank you.
Thank you.
You're awesome. The record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Catherine Place, file number 24-02112, council appearance.
Good morning, Your Honor. Robert Hayes, Assistant Attorney General, here for the people, P69006.
Attorney Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office here to represent Ms. Place, who is appearing over Zoom today.
Okay, and the court received a stipulation in order to adjourn the preliminary examination. However, Ms. Place is not waived for 21 days.
Yes, Your Honor, I have spoken with Ms. Place and she is willing to waive her 21 days at this time.
Okay, so Ms. Place, for the record, you have the right to have a preliminary examination within 21 days of the date that you're arraigned. There's a request to adjourn due to unavailability of witnesses. Are you willing to waive the 21-day timeline so we can reset this?
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody threatening you to do that? Anybody threatening you to waive the timeline?
No.
Okay. Was there promises extended to you if you waive your timeline?
I'm sorry, what?
Did they promise you anything to get you to waive your timeline?
No.
September 27th.
September 27th at 9:30. At 9:30 work for you, Mr. Hayes?
Check it 1 second, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll proceed in person September 27th at 9:30. Any additional matters for the record?
Not from the people, Your Honor. Thank you.
Not from the defense, Your Honor.
Thank you, you're all set.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No problem.
Thank you.
No problem. Jada Otis here.
He just told me that the officer said that
Afternoon.
the officer for the exam can't make it.
Mr. Goodrich. You have Jada Otis here.
I have not seen her here this morning. Jan's here. I've talked with her repeatedly, but yeah, she said she was on her way.
On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Jada Otis, file number 24-02219, council appearance.
Morning, Your Honor. Case marked Aaron appearing on behalf of the people.
And Attorney Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office here to represent Ms. Otis, who's standing to my right.
Okay, Mr. Otis, there was a date set for a preliminary examination today. I have a note that there was either going to be a plea or an amendment to the complaint.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, what's going on?
Yes, Your Honor, we did it. So this case was originally charged as carrying concealed weapon and felonious assault on the theory of a use of brass knuckles. In the people's review of the evidence, we see nothing to substantiate that Ms. Otis had brass knuckles on her. I think it was charged under a bit of an aiding and abetting theory that I'm certainly not comfortable with. So we offered a plea deal of assault and battery to dismiss the 2 felony counts. It's my understanding Ms. Otis does not want to take that. So we will be simply amending the complaint to an added count 3 of assault and battery and keeping the matter in district court.
Any complaint to add a count 3 of assault and battery and dismissing the other 2?
Correct, Your Honor.
The witness here today?
No, Your Honor, I called her off because of my intent to amend the complaint anyways. I didn't think we were amending the complaint, giving it to district court. It's necessary to appear. She's on
Well,
board.
could have been, because now I wouldn't have to set it for a final pretrial if I knew there was a witness here. Now I have to set it for a final pretrial.
I understand, Your Honor. I apologize. I won't make that error again. For record, I did talk to her yesterday afternoon. She was ready to appear and all that. It's my fault.
No problem. I get what you mean. So your client was literally walking in the door. It was 9:32, so she wasn't late yet. I just was trying to see what was going on with that case. She is gonna, I guess, take time to consider the offer, or she doesn't want to take the offer.
Well, she doesn't want to, certainly is not taking the offer at this time, Your Honor. Just like to proceed as a misdemeanor.
Okay, so we'll set this on the misdemeanor docket. I'll put final pretrial and jury trial.
Final trial, August 27th at 8 a.m. Jury trial, October 15th at 8 a.m.
Okay, final pretrial, August 27th. At 8 o'clock in the morning in person at the court. Jury trial, October 15th, 8 o'clock in the morning in person at the court. Do you have any questions today?
No.
Picture your notice to appear. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing further from the people. Thank you, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
I think we do need a knowledge for. One, two. Okay, on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Joseph Johnson, file number 24-01571. Council appearance.
Morning, Your Honor. Case Mark Aaron, hearing on behalf of the people.
Thank you. Lynn, P2958 on behalf of Joseph D'Angelo Johnson.
Okay, today's the date for sentencing. I see here, there is a pre-sentence report that was dated and prepared August 8th, 2024. Council, did you get a copy of that?
I did, and I shared it all with my client.
Do you need to make corrections, updates, or deletions?
No, it's very accurate, and I think the officer did a good job.
You can make allocution.
Thank you very much. The court take record of the fact that an hour and a half before this incident occurred, in other words, the stopping of the car, driven by another individual, Miss Morales. My client was in the back seat, and it was just the day after his birthday by an hour or so. Used the back, but he's on his way to, according to the testimony that was given by the witnesses, up north to go to a casino. The client was in the back seat. He was drinking. He did not listen to the individual who told him, instructed him to get out of the car. He held on to the seat. My client and I have discussed this in great detail. And I think he understands now that everything he says and does in the future is going to mean something, especially during the term of probation and thereafter as well. The client has always been polite with me. He's been forthcoming, gives good eye contact. He seems to be respectful in every way. Thought on the subject is, I like what was recommended. I think it's a thing about early discharge. He behaves himself the first half. Also, there's a Zoom reporting. There's a prohibition of testing, and a prohibition, but there's a requirement of a testing to see whether he's complying, presumably with alcohol and drugs. Frank says he's fine with that too. Place him on probation. With this round, he would be a very good candidate. And then we'll look forward after probation is over to counting 60 months on his calendar, see if he can come back in front of you, possibly with the same move.
Did you probably want to make a statement?
Anything you say about about how you feel about this? I don't know. There's nothing to say.
You see this report and the recommendation is, well, it's gone over, excuse me. Your prior criminal history. I think that the recommendation is appropriate. I think for your age, you've had far too much interaction with the criminal justice system, don't you think? You'll probably be at a place where you don't want to continue to do this, though, right? I would hope so. I'm looking at the recommendation. It reports an economic hardship as bills. I think we all have economic hardship then. Then who doesn't have bills? Are you working?
It's like under the table.
You fix cars under the table? Why don't you have a over the table job?
Huh?
Why don't you have an above the table job? You don't know?
Because I'm making money than what I do.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, that part of your probation requirements is you're gonna have to get an over the table job and provide verification. You understand that?
Well, I get disability right now, so I can't do a full-time job.
You're gonna have to provide evidence that your disability does not allow you to work. That's the only requirement. It has to state that you have a disability that says you can't work. Sometimes we get people that come in here and say, oh, I get disability, I can't work. Then their paperwork doesn't say that they couldn't work. And the fact that you are fixing cars leads me to understand that you probably could work. But we'll see what your paperwork says. Nonetheless, I'll adopt the recommendation. Your probation will be for 6 months. While on probation, you're not to use, purchase, or possess any alcohol, drugs, or marijuana without a valid prescription. You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to purchase or possess a firearm, ammunition, or weapon of any kind, and you must submit to random preliminary breath testing and urinalysis testing. You have to pay the fee for that, okay? You're not to be at any bars or any nightclubs. Do you have any questions so far? Excuse me?
You understand everything that's being said?
Will be required to provide evidence that you've obtained employment unless you provide evidence that a doctor has determined that you are permanently disabled or unable to work. You need to complete anger management while on probation. suspend the drug testing after 30 days if you don't have any violation. To fines and costs, there's a $30 per month oversight fee that you would be responsible for while on probation. There's a $75 crime victim rights fee plus a $50 state minimum cost that must be assessed. If you do 6 months of probation, your oversight fees are $180. I say if because you do have the right to request early discharge from probation once you've completed 3 months of what I'm ordering you to complete, so long as you've not violated. If you've been compliant and you've done your anger management, you can submit a request for early discharge. And you do that by using the court's NC 512 form. You don't have to remember the name of that form. You can ask your probation officer for the form. Your probation officer can make the request without you even requesting it on their own. But in case they don't make the request, you have the right to make your own request. If you make your own request, you have to file a copy of the request for early discharge with probation, and then you also have to serve a copy on the prosecutor's office, okay? The prosecutor's office will have 14 days to file any objections in writing to that request. If I were to set it for a hearing to address your request, you have the right to hire an attorney. You do not have the right to court-appointed counsel for any hearing for early discharge. I've never held a hearing for early discharge from probation. I review them off the record. But that's just in case for some reason I needed to hold it, okay? Do you have any questions about that? When you leave your check-in downstairs with probation, so they make sure they have accurate information for you. Hopefully you won't have any issues, and then you'll be off probation in no time. Any additional matters for record counsel?
I'm going to escort Mr. Johnson downstairs and then start.
Very good. You're all set, good sir. And we have come to a resolution of the yeah, she's got to tell us what the civil action is. Is there a specific civil infraction? And then I'll give her the fine. You said murder was other witness or something?
Yeah, he said something about the officer for the exam, but then the officer for the family emergency.
Mr. Goodrich, can we bring Carter up?
Yes.
We'll go in the Williams file. She just, Patrol Services just sent this email to me.
Makes no promise.
Yeah. I put just my community, all the GPS violations. I put that. We had a few once you stopped.
Because of Mr. Eichel case?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Right, which
Yeah,
Mr.
so-
Terrell.
Mr. Terrell.
I was able to handle anything.
Yeah.
It's out for some time.
Yeah.
Right, I'm not. Sure. We're sure every night. What? I'll look at it. But
Yeah.
Question versus.
Deshaun.
I can go back. Like that's right. I mean, you know.
That,
I was never. Of course.
Palmer has Adams.
Yes,
He's in custody.
yes, Judge.
You gotta go talk to him?
I actually went down and talked to him already, but I might go talk to him again
Okay,
based on some conversations we just,
sounds good.
if of course, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Carter brought up.
Yes.
Is Powell here?
Yeah.
On the record,
So, yes.
Yeah.
in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus McQuarrie, Sonia Powell, call number 24-02220. Council appearance.
Morning, Your Honor. Case Mark Hearing appearing on behalf of the people.
Hey, Ms. Powell, you do not have an attorney, correct?
I just obtained Bobby Brooklyn. So he will be filing the paperwork needed to show that he's representing me.
You paid him?
Yes.
Then why is he not here?
We have a meeting today. Our schedules basically to come today and we'll move forward.
Okay, so today was the date that was set. Oh, they changed it, and some say it's set for the 16th, you see that, it was reassigned. Okay, so today was the day that was set for a preliminary examination. However, due to the delay with your obtaining counsel, I'm gonna have to find the cause to adjourn this. Your counsel's not even here. Was there an offer on this at all?
Yes, Your Honor, there was. The offer was no objection to HYTA and essentially a choice of whichever felony. We would dismiss the other two.
Okay, plead to one count, no objection to sentencing under the Home Rule Training Act. So once your attorney files his appearance and gets discovery, that offer will be communicated to him, giving you time to think about that, okay? Do you have any questions today? No. Okay, we'll get you a notice to appear. I'm gonna find the cause to go beyond the 21 days and reset this for another probable cause conference.
Okay. We can do August 30th at 8:30 for the PC.
August 30th for your new probable cause conference. You can appear via Zoom for that.
Okay. 9:30.
September 27th at 9:30 will be the date for your exam. Again, your attorney's not here. He may have a conflict on those dates. He'll have to notify us, okay? Let's see. On 2,000 personal recognizance will continue and the no contact order. Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
Nothing further from the people. Thank you.
You're all set. You're welcome. We'll get you your notice in just a moment. Wait for your form. And then we can bring up Carter. On the record in the matter, the people of the state of Michigan versus Marcel Carter, file number 24-02196, council appearance.
Morning, Your Honor. Casey Markarian appearing on behalf of the people.
Attorney Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office, here to represent Mr. Carter, who's standing to my right today.
Okay, we have a preliminary examination scheduled for today and a 53 contempt hearing. Are we ready to proceed?
No, Your Honor, we would be requesting an adjournment at this time on both the preliminary exam and the PA 53. Just for the record, I had communications with the officers back and forth. I had communications with the victim at least once on this case. It was my intent to run today victimless under 27C. The necessary officer for doing that, Officer William Turbo, the report writer who spoke to the victim on the day of the incident, he actually emailed me yesterday at around 11:40. I missed it, and I'm bringing it up now because I caught it from one of the other officers. He will be on training. He will be out for training for this week and next week. He was unable to appear. Regarding the PA 53 hearing, the officer necessary for that was Officer Jamil Jones. Officer Jamil Jones emailed me at about 2:30 a.m. this morning stating he had a last-minute family emergency in Detroit come up and he was not to be able to make it today. So for those reasons, we would request an adjournment on both.
Oh, Mr. Goodrich.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the defense is here and ready to proceed at this time. Mr. Carter has a right to have his preliminary exam within 21 days. With the prosecution being unable to proceed, we would ask the court to dismiss both of these matters. Regarding to the PA 53 on its own, that is in itself is a contempt hearing where there is a right to confront witnesses under Crawford for testimonial statements. I don't know if they would be able to proceed only with a police officer anyway if they don't have someone who actually witnessed any of those events. He has currently been remanded to jail pending a hearing on that matter. Today was the date for that hearing. He has waited patiently. He is still ready to proceed. So we would ask the court to dismiss both the PA 53 and the case itself at this time.
Typically, I would have a copy of the police report, so I can at least see the allegation. I can't speak to that because it's not here. And as it relates to the PA 53 and the issue of the witness not being here for the PA 53. So I'll address that in just a moment. As it relates to the motion to dismiss the underlying charge, I'm going to deny that motion because it's my inclination that people would reissue that charge because they're seeking to proceed under 27C anyway. So is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor, I do have a copy of the report here if you'd like it.
Yes, please. It would not be in the interest of judicial economy to dismiss this case just so he could be transported by the jail and before he could be released, it's reissued. Just tying up court resources and particularly me because I would probably have to review it because I'm the only one here today. So I won't dismiss that. We'll grant the adjournment. This is the first time this matter has been adjourned. It's on this matter. Let's see. Is there another one on the 3rd, or did they just put the wrong date?
Your Honor, the matter on the 3rd is PA 53. It is
That's what I'm looking
also
for.
independently
I
charged as a
apologize.
new case.
It is. I have a report.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
I apologize. I wanted to let you.
Oh, okay, so there's a new case pending from.
Correct, Your Honor. There is a new case pending.
Okay.
I believe potentially CPS has been involved in that as well. I don't know if it has been issued yet or not, but I know there are some ongoing investigations.
Okay, I'm going to reset it because I'm resetting the underlying matter. And the new case has a court date of what? Do we know, or has it been issued yet?
The new file has a pretrial on August 27th.
I believe in this court, Your Honor.
It is a misdemeanor.
Let's. Okay, so you have the right to have the preliminary examination within 21 days of the date that you're arraigned due to the officer being on training, which is outside of the prosecution's control. And not being present today, I'm going to find good cause to go beyond the 21 days, and I'm going to reset this matter. October 4th at 9 a.m. for the preliminary examination of them. The bond violation, I'll reset that one for soon. The bond violation, it could be set earlier than that. It could be. Do that on the 27th. August 27th at 10. Any additional matters for the record today?
Nothing further from the people. Thank you.
Your Honor, regarding bond in this matter, Mr. Carter has a significant issue with tendons in his wrist that is causing him a lot of pain while incarcerated. He had doctor appointments scheduled on August 20th and 22nd. I would ask the court to consider granting him a PR bond on these matters until those dates. Again, we were scheduled to have this here, and it is not through any fault of his own that he has not had a hearing today.
You didn't have a PR bond in the first place.
Well, it's my understanding that the original bond got revoked, so
Yeah,
we just have to have these.
5,010% was the original bond. Let's see.
We need you to put your phone away.
Or even to reinstate that bond at this time, Your Honor. He's informing me that he's certainly willing to do GPS tether as well.
Did the people want to respond to the motion?
Yes, Your Honor, we would object to a change in the bond for Mr. Carter. I think he has shown with the new allegations there that regardless of a court order or a GPS tether, it appears he has a repeated pattern of going back and assaulting the same victim and the same person. And although I can empathize with the concerns for the tendons and the wrist, it did not appear he had those same issues on August 3rd when the underlying bond violation occurred. And the allegations are he not just assaulted Ms. Bauer, he backhanded a 6-month-old child. We would object.
Particularly with this right hand is the allegation. It would be the same hand, if true. Correct. What's up with your victim? Why didn't she appear to them?
I'm unsure, Your Honor. I did coordinate, and I don't know how much the court wants to know, but I did
I
talk.
don't want to know much. I just want to know if you thought that she would be here today and she didn't, or if you don't expect her to come.
It's the conversations I had with her were that she did not intend to proceed. The conversations that some CPS workers had with her were much different. They said she was far more cooperative, and that's what I was trying to assist on.
Okay. And because the underlying case, which is the same as the bond violation, involves a potential CPS issue.
Correct.
Okay. You had something to say?
Your Honor, he absolutely denies those allegations that are occurring in the bond violation hearing / new case. And we would again ask the court to give him the ability to be released pending these hearings.
I think the issue I have is that we have an issue where the victim is not cooperative, and even proceeding under 27C only gets you so far without her cooperation. And then the bond violation, like I can't necessarily sustain it without her here, unless the officer witnessed something himself.
I believe, Your Honor, if I may.
Yes, you may.
Officer Jones did, it's my understanding from the review of the report, he did arrest Mr. Carter within the violation of a no contact exclusion zone with Ms. Johnson. The allegations are that she had to hide in a freezer at a store to get away from him, and Officer Jones arrested him right outside of that store.
Your Honor, I would respond to that by saying that while he was arrested outside of a store, she could not be seen in the store. There's no evidence that he would have even known she was in the store.
We'll find that out at the hearing then.
Leave an
There would have
officer,
to be some
an officer
testimony
made
about that.
contact with her as well.
Okay, sounds good. I think he's saying that his client could have just been walking through the store, didn't know she was there. That's what he said.
Fair enough. Thank you.
I believe that's categorizing your statement.
Yeah, it was my understanding he never even went in.
I don't know if he went in or not. I don't know if the store has camera or not. I couldn't tell you. However, due to the nature of the bond violation, and it being only days within his arraignment, and the nature of and the seriousness of these charges also having allegations of not just violence, but violence with the use of a firearm, I'm going to keep him remanded until the time that we hold the hearing on the 27th. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing further from the people. Thank you.
No, Your Honor.
You're all set. And we can bring up Adams.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll bring Adams up. And then I know I saw Mr. Freeman. Okay, Mr. Freeman.
I'm sorry, we have multiple Adams Drive.
Oh,
Who's here?
I don't have you on my docket. Which one are you here for? Are you coming from Feigelson?
Yes.
Oh,
My
okay.
apologies.
Are we running your Adams?
I don't believe the prosecutor has witnesses.
I'll call you.
Yes, sir.
On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Cal. Adams, file number 24-00160. Council appearance.
Morning, Your Honor. Case Mark Herring appearing on behalf of the people. Good morning, Your Honor. Jacob Starr, support the Assistant Public Defender, covering for Stephen Feigelson, the attorney record. Mr. Feigelson said, apologies, Your Honor, his scheduling conflict this morning. I'm here on behalf of Ms. Adams. With her permission. Thank you.
Okay, today was the date set for preliminary examination. Unarmed robbery, assault with a deadly weapon, and assault and battery. How are we proceeding?
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, despite the best efforts of our office, we have sent multiple subpoenas that have gone unserved. We have attempted contact with any numbers we have that have not been answered at all several times. So the necessary witnesses have failed to appear and we're unable to.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's been moved to dismiss at this time, Your Honor. Ms. Adams, you understand that if this motion is granted, be dismissed without prejudice, meaning the prosecutor could reissue the charges if the circumstances are right. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, you can put the ROA for that. Motion to dismiss is granted without prejudice, as your attorney advised, that the people do have the right to reissue this charge against you, okay? We'll get you a copy of your dismissal, and it looks like you have a civil infraction warrant, 22L2756541 for failure to pay. I'm just waiting for her to tell me how much you owe. 140.
Thank you, Your Honor.
When are you paying it today?
Can I pay on it today? I just had a job, but basically I keep getting jobs and they keep like firing me because of what I got going on.
Pending charges.
Yeah, so like I can't stand more than 2 weeks at a job because they just think I'm so crazy or something.
Hopefully they don't think you're crazy. Hopefully the issue is that they ran your report and saw a pending felony. Robbery or unarmed robbery and assault with a deadly weapon, and so that was why. We're gonna get you a copy of the dismissal in just a moment, and then you owe 140. You're not employed right now, you said?
No. I can pay on it today.
How much you gonna pay today?
I can do 40 on each, 20 on each. I mean, I'm gonna take that.
I was gonna tell you had one warrant. I'll double check if you have another ticket. Yeah, but
You do have another fine, they go $90 on, but that one's not in warrant status, at least not now. This one is the one in warrant status.
You're gonna pay $40,
Yeah.
you said today?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Sharp.
Thank you, guys. April.
I would say they both, okay, let's see. He owes 140, it says, however. When are you gonna make your next payment after today?
I was gonna set up a payment plan with them out there.
Well, you would have to set it up with me.
Okay, so, yeah, every 2 weeks.
How much you gotta pay every 2 weeks?
I can do 40 every 2 weeks.
You owe 140, I do see a penalty on here. $26. Make a partial payment then. Okay. If you pay 40 every 2 weeks, beginning today, I will waive the late penalty.
Okay.
Need the file to do that. So hang tight, I gotta write that in the file, so when you go there, they know that, okay?
Okay,
Okay, you're all set.
thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Freeman, you have Monta Williams with you?
Yes, Your Honor, your docket should show two persons.
Yeah, I think one's talking to you now.
I can't talk to you and the judge at the same time.
No, me.
On the record, in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Monta Williams, file number 24-02236. Monta,
Yes, Your Honor.
council appearance.
Good morning, Your Honor. Casey Markarian appearing on behalf of the people.
Morning, Your Honor. Stephen A. Freeman, Assistant Public Defender, appearing on behalf of Mr. Williams, who is standing to my right.
Okay, today was the date that was set for a preliminary examination, and is there a request to adjourn?
There is, Your Honor, if Your Honor would prefer, because of judicial efficiency and economy reasons. The situation here is we intended to run this under 27C as well. Officer Bridget Boyson, the necessary witness for doing so, emailed yesterday saying she had a last-minute family emergency and was going to be unable to make it. I did see her on Tuesday, so I have no reason to doubt that. APA Adam Pfeiffer will also be stepping in and taking this case as a vertical assignment too. So for those reasons, we would request an adjournment.
Council.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. I heard the words offered by counsel, and I think that if the officer was received a call of some kind of family emergency, of course, that smacks of good cause to me. I was hoping to gather additional information, however, as to what efforts have been made to contact the complaining witness.
We have attempted several times, Your Honor, and we have not had successful contact.
Thank you very much. I have no objection to his motion.
Mr. Pfeiffer is aware of the attempts and unsuccessful contact, and he still intends to take the case and make me aware that he will plan to reissue even if it's dismissed.
Okay, so based on the motion, I will reset this matter. I'm going to advise you that you have the right to have your exam within 21 days of your arraignment, but because of the circumstances, I'm going to find good cause to go beyond the 21 days and reset this, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
October 4th at 9.
October 4th at 9:30 work for you?
I can't talk to you. Just.
I'm talking loud just so he can hear me. You can't distract him, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Your Honor, could you repeat?
October 4th work for you at 9:30?
Thank you very much, that's fine.
Okay, we'll get you your notice to appear. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing further for the people. Thank you.
Nor from the defense, thank you.
Bond will continue as well as the no contact order. You can have a seat. I'm gonna call his next case. Are we running your next one?
I'm unsure if they're intent to run or not, Your Honor. An offer has been extended. I do have the necessary witness here.
Okay, let me take, is this, who is this, Adams?
Yes, sir.
I'll take Adams and then I'll call, Terrell next.
I just have a moment to step out and let a
Absolutely.
couple officers go.
What is it?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
But it's called, sometimes.
This is Gavin Adams. Okay, on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Gavin Adams. File number 24-02217. Appearance, please.
Good morning, Joel Martinez, appearing on behalf of the people of the state of Michigan.
Good morning, Your Honor. Robert Palmer, the Public Defender's Office, on behalf of Mr. Gavin, Paul Adams, the gentleman who's standing to my right.
Okay, today was the date that was scheduled to proceed on an examination on several counts. Are we continuing to examine today?
I believe we are. That's my understanding, Your Honor. The people are ready to proceed.
Okay, any issues we should address before we begin the exam? I'm going to take or call the next case first before we take witnesses on this one.
No issues that I'm aware of, Judge, but before we actually begin, when you recall the case and we begin, if I can have Mr. Markarian make any comments he needs to, of any
Sounds good.
issues. Thank you.
Sounds good.
The only thing I would ask for, Judge, is sequestration of witnesses. I think it's all law enforcement, and that appears it's already happened, but that's my.
Okay, sequestration is granted, and then I'll call the case after I clear the next. Oh, did Mr. Freeman just leave?
He's in the hallway with his client.
Okay, I'll call the case in just a moment. He can wait in the jury box. Yep.
So you just have to walk your way around. Oh, sorry.
I need this file for Miss Adams so I can amend her payment plan.
I don't know.
On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Terrell Williams, file number is 24-02226, council appearance.
Good morning, Your Honor. Case Markarian appearing on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Your Honor. Stephen A. Freeman, Assistant Public Defender on behalf of Mr. Williams.
Okay, today was the date that was scheduled for a preliminary examination. The court had also recently received a series of non-in-custody bond violations. Defendant was present. However, I understand that he's no longer present. Correct.
That is correct, Your Honor. My watch were somewhere around 10:45 and then it was scheduled for 10 a.m. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. So he's vacated before the court saw or could call his case. So the court's going to issue a bench warrant with a remand and revoke his bond.
Did they security find you? As he was trying to-
I don't think you, I don't know, it's in collections.
No, we did.
Any additional matters for the court today on this one?
Nothing further for the people. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, all set for today on that one. We're gonna call him. Were they waiting for a court date?
I believe they are support and
Oh, okay.
the victim on the case too. I wanted to maybe explain the situation to her as the
Okay,
officer.
take your time. I'm gonna Okay, and he can come back over with his attorney.
Yeah. that was it. Okay.
On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Gavin Adams, file number 24-02217. Appearance, please.
Morning, Your Honor. Case Markarian appearing on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Your Honor. Robert Palmer, the Public Defender's Office, on behalf of Gavin Adams, gentleman who stands.
Okay, and we are ready to proceed on the exam. Any preliminary matters other than the sequestration order that the court has granted?
Yes, Your Honor, there are a couple preliminary matters. First and foremost, Your Honor, given the charges on this case, I do have a certified copy of the specified felony. I believe we have a stipulation to it if you'd like me to approach, Your Honor.
Yes, please.
And for the record, that's correct. I'm stipulating to the certificate.
Thank you.
Also, Your Honor, since it was a preliminary exam and for efficiency purposes, put all the body cams that I intend to play on one flash drive. I have a couple photographs on here too of the firearm that I didn't print yet, just because honestly, I think they look better on your TV anyways. I didn't know if you had an issue, if you wanted me to get those printed right now.
No reason to print them for me.
Other than that, Your Honor, I believe we have a stipulation to some of the items on this. I know there is one video that I believe there's going to be an objection to. That would be Officer Dalton Piper Harris's body cam video that I have on this exhibit. Otherwise, all of the other are stipulated.
Body cam of who? Dalton here?
Dalton Piper Harris.
And that's an absolutely accurate statement, Your Honor. I am stipulating to all but one of the body camera that the prosecutor has indicated, I believe to contain hearsay. I understand his reasoning for not. We'll have that argument. We have discussed it, I will say, outside the presence of the court. We'll have that argument when we get to it. Otherwise, I'm stipulating all of it.
Okay, sounds good. That's all noted here for my recollection. Any other matters before we call witnesses?
Some preliminary matters I have, Your Honor.
I have nothing further.
Okay, you can call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people would call Trooper Andrew Morgan to the stand. I'll go. Thank you.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury? Thank you. You can have a seat. State your first and last name and spell both.
Andrew, A-N-D-R-E-W, Morgan, M-O-R-G-A-N.
You can proceed, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Trooper Morgan, it is Trooper, right?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently employed?
Michigan State Police.
How long have you been employed with the Michigan State Police?
About 30 years.
What have you been assigned to while you've been working with the Michigan State Police?
Regular patrol duties, getting calls for service, traffic stops.
On the date and maybe you already answered this, how long have you been on the Michigan State Police?
About 3 years.
On the date of July 25th, 2024, at around 12 a.m., were you on duty in that same capacity?
Yes, sir.
Did you at some point have an interaction with a suspect at the location of South Washington Avenue and Holmes Road in Lansing?
Yes, sir.
Is that location located in Ingham County?
Yes, sir.
State of Michigan?
Yes, sir.
Do you know who that suspect that you had an interaction with was?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall his name?
Gavin Adams.
The person that you've name identified as Gavin Adams, how do you know him?
From attempting to conduct a traffic stop. Have an interaction.
That person that you've name identified as Gavin Adams, do you see them in court here today?
Yes, sir.
Could you please point them out and identify them by an article of clothing?
Sitting over there in a blue shirt.
Your Honor, please let the record reflect Trooper Morgan has identified the defendant.
Any objection to ID?
No objection to ID as long as it's not my motion.
Right, you're saying a blue shirt or a blue jacket?
Blue shirt, not a blue jacket.
Okay, thank you. Identification is noted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just to be clear, that location was in the city of Lansing, right?
Correct.
Now, you mentioned that you attempted to conduct a traffic stop on it. Why do you say attempted?
So when I conducted the traffic stop on the suspect vehicle, I walked up to the driver's side. The window was slightly open. I asked Mr. Adams to roll the window down, to which he replied, "Yeah, sure," and then drove away.
Now, were you wearing a body camera that day?
Yes, sir.
Do you know if it was on and recording during this interaction? Do Michigan State Police vehicles also come equipped with fleet cameras?
Yes, sir.
What is a fleet camera?
Every vehicle has an in-car camera that records.
Do you know if that was recording and active when this happened?
It was.
Now, before we play those, just a couple questions that might be a little silly. Were you in uniform on that day?
I was in a full Michigan State Police uniform.
Were you performing your lawful duties as an officer or trooper for the Michigan State Police when you attempted to conduct that traffic stop?
Yes, sir.
Were you in a marked vehicle?
I was in a fully marked Michigan State Police patrol car.
Do you know if the defendant was the driver?
Yes, he was.
Of the vehicle that you attempted to stop?
He was.
How do you know that?
He was the driver and the lone occupant. I had observed him for several minutes before that at the Sunoco gas station on Mitchell King.
Now, when you, and maybe we haven't gotten there yet, but when you turn on your lights, sirens, and I believe you called it initiating a traffic stop, is that what we're referring to?
Yeah,
on your
so
lights and
it would
sirens?
just be my lights.
When you turn on your lights, are those clearly visible to people around you?
Yes, very visible.
And when you turn on your lights, what are you attempting to do?
To stop the vehicle.
Would that be a lawful order?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware if the defendant knew of that order when you were trying to get him?
I'm gonna object, just that calls for speculation. What, I don't know that the officer can testify to what my client is aware.
Did you want to respond to the objection?
Yes, Your Honor, after he initiated his, and maybe I can just play the body cam, but after he initiated his lights, the defendant did stop, so I think it's reasonable to assume that's well within his rationally based perceptions of observing this interaction to testify that he knew he was being commanded to stop because he at least did for.
I don't know that he can testify as to what this defendant knew though. So maybe you need to rephrase that question, so I'm going to sustain the objection.
Thank you. After you initiated your lights indicating that this person should stop, what happened?
The driver stopped until I walked up to the vehicle.
Can you speak up a little bit?
The driver stopped until I walked up to the vehicle.
And I'll play the body cam in just one moment. Did he at some point after you walked up to that vehicle then flee and disobey your command?
Correct.
Did he flee more than once?
Correct.
Why is that? Did you lose sight of him?
Yes.
So at some point you did later catch up to him and then he fled it again.
Yes, I later located them.
Your Honor, at this time, I would request permission to, I'm going to turn on my audio here, but I would request permission to share the screen and play the body worn camera, fleet camera of Andrew Morgan, Trooper Andrew Morgan. From People's Exhibit.
Okay, I need to.
These are the stipulated exhibits too.
No, I just needed to make you co-host,
Oh, thank you.
so that you can share screen, and so permission granted.
For the record, this body worn camera for Officer Andrew Morgan's is dated 7/25/24, starting at 00:15:14, 12:15 a.m.
Just before, was that, I'm not objecting to it, I'm stipulating to it, but does that have to have an exhibit number?
Yes.
Oh, it's exhibit number 1A, Your Honor. They're all on a flash drive entitled number 1, so people's exhibit number 1A.
Exhibit number 1.
That's totally fair. I just want to make sure if we need it at some later point for prelim or for transcript purposes, it's easier to identify.
Thank you. You said it was 00.
00:15. I'll scroll back a little bit.
00:15:14, so 12:15 a.m.
Thank you.
Permission to play, Your Honor?
Yes.
Hello, sir. You mind rolling this window down for me? Appreciate it. 1112 is taking off. Northbound Washington. Taking a left onto Southland.
For the record, I'm stopping people's exhibit number 1A at 00:15:51. Could you please describe what we just saw on that camera there, Trooper Morgan?
I initiated a traffic stop on the suspect vehicle. In my initial approach, walked up to the driver's side of the vehicle, which Mr. Adams was driving, asked him to roll the window down, and he drove away.
Now I've got a fleet camera of that same interaction that goes a little longer. I'm gonna go ahead and play that now, Your Honor.
It, for the record, would be people's exhibit number 1B,
Trooper Morgan's fleet camera. Don't have a timestamp on this one. You have the same interaction. We were just. Permission to play, Your Honor?
Yes.
sound.
the record, Your Honor, that video was 2 minutes and 4 seconds long. Although there aren't any timestamps.
Reverend Morgan, since there aren't any timestamps on that fleet camera, could you just, would it be fair to say that that's at or near the exact same time as we saw on your body worn camera?
Yes, so when I activate my lights on my patrol vehicle, all the cameras kick on at the same time, they're all synced.
Could you please describe what we observed on that video? People's Exhibit number 1B.
I observed me initiating traffic stop on Mr. Adams' vehicle, him stopping, me walking up to the vehicle, and him driving away.
Would you characterize that as fleeing?
Correct.
In your training and experience as a Michigan State Police officer, what are some reasons why someone might flee from a traffic stop?
Typically, say it's because they've committed a higher crime than just a traffic offense. People don't usually flee just because they have or another civil infraction.
Would it be fair to say that it is an attempt to avoid being caught when someone does that? Correct. Now, we just observed a clip that appeared you turned off your side light and you kind of stopped the pursuit for a moment there. Why was that?
I initially attempted to follow Mr. Adams because typically, especially in settings like, in the city of Lansing, there's apartment complexes, parking lots, stuff like that, right close by. A lot of times suspects will drive away until they can get to an apartment complex or wherever else, and then flee on foot or try to hide out or whatever. So as you can see in the video, I saw that first apartment complex right there on the street. I saw him turn down. I saw taillights sitting there, and I thought that was his vehicle. And then obviously I hit it with my spotlight, and it was a red car. And it wasn't.
Did you eventually find that car that you believed the defendant was driving and had been pursuing?
Correct. I saw him again a few minutes later. I'm not exactly sure how many minutes, but I was going eastbound on Holmes near Washington. He was coming westbound on Holmes, straight at me in the opposite lane of travel. I initiated my lights again, and he continued to drive westbound.
Would it be fair to say you were attempting to, again, do a traffic stop, performing your lawful duties like we described? Correct. And that the defendant then fled? Did you eventually catch up to him when he was on foot or out of the vehicle?
Correct.
When was that?
That was a few minutes after the second time when I attempted to initiate a stop. Trooper Schaefer advised over the radio that they observed the suspect vehicle and a subject with clothing description running from the vehicle. We then initiated a foot pursuit, eventually catching Mr. Adams.
Do you recall where that took place?
I was at an apartment complex on Rio Road. I don't remember the exact address.
Would it refresh your memory if I approach you with a copy of your report?
Yes, sir.
Your permission to approach with a copy of your report. Do that over and just look at me when you have it. Hold on. Did reviewing your report refresh your memory as to the address of where you caught up to the suspect who is now on foot out of the vehicle? Yes, sir. What was that address?
2354 Rio Road.
What occurred when you caught, now you mentioned a Trooper Schaefer, so maybe I'll ask, who else was involved in this pursuit?
Trooper Easterday was my partner. He was in my vehicle with me, and then Trooper Schaefer and Trooper Harshman were in their own vehicle.
When you caught up to this suspect on foot, what happened?
We had a foot pursuit that continued eastbound. Multiple commands were given to Mr. Adams of State Police, stop. He continued running eastbound, went around the end of an apartment building, continued going southbound, almost out to Rio Road again, and then went back eastbound sorry, I think I said eastbound the first time, and then westbound. Came back eastbound, so basically a U shape around the building, where he then came in contact with Trooper Harshman. And
Was the suspect detained at this point? When he caught up to Trooper Harshman, you were all pursuing him, was he eventually detained?
yes,
When you were in pursuit of him on foot, did you or any other officers voice commands telling him to stop?
yes, I heard Trooper Schaefer and Trooper Schaefer and Trooper Easterday telling him to stop.
Were you saying those things loudly?
Yes,
Was he close to you when you were doing it?
close enough, you would have heard us, yes.
And what were you commanding him to do at this point?
Stop.
Did he stop? Now, I've got another body camera with a different officer that I'll play for all that. I just wanted to, with you, did he at any point, or did you discover a firearm?
Yes, so when I caught up to Mr. Adams, the firearm was laying right next to him where he was laying on the ground.
How do you know how that firearm got there?
Trooper Harshman advised me he dropped it.
I'm just gonna object to your say that, Judge. If he doesn't know, I mean, I don't think he can testify to what someone else told him.
Objection not sustained.
Yes, sir. How close was that firearm to him on the ground where he was detained?
10 few feet.
Did you observe anything else on the ground near him?
There was a white plastic bag, like a bag you'd get at Meyer, a grocery bag.
Did that draw your attention at all, or?
It kind of did, but not really, just because we were on a sidewalk in an apartment complex.
How close was that bag to the defendant after he had been detained?
Same thing, within a couple of feet.
Trooper Harris, were you at any point during your investigation made aware, or did you find out if the defendant, Gavin Adams, was prohibited to have firearms at this point?
Yes, he's a felon, so he's not allowed to have firearms.
And how did you go about confirming it?
Trooper Easterday conducted a lean check.
So maybe that's a better question for Trooper Easterday. Now, one thing I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss, what was the initial reason for the traffic stop, if you recall, the first attempt to stop?
For illegal window tint on the front passenger window. I'd observed illegal window tint on the vehicle while it was at the Sunoco gas station. When we got behind the vehicle, Trooper Easterday conducted a lean check on the vehicle, which revealed an EIV equals no status, which is.
Is it unlawful to operate a vehicle on the road with that kind of status?
It's a misdemeanor to operate a vehicle on the roadway.
And that would that be what gave you the basis to initiate your traffic stop?
That as well as the window tint.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, I have no further questions for Trooper Morgan.
Question.
Thank you. Good morning, Trooper. You authored a report in this matter, is that right?
Correct.
And everything you placed in your report is true to the best of your recollection, yes?
Correct.
All right, so you talked about how, and you kind of mentioned a little bit during the direct exam, but you talked about how initially you observed this vehicle at a Sunoco gas station on MLK, correct?
Correct.
And you placed into your report, so I'm assuming this is important to you, you placed into your report that you saw Mr. Adams holding on to the waistband of his pants after he exited the vehicle. Is that right?
Correct.
And why is that important?
So people that carry firearms typically have to hold the waistband of their pants, especially if that firearm is not in a holster and they don't have the correct belt to carry a firearm. Because a firearm is a heavy object, it weighs the pants down. So it's something that I look for, at least take note of, number one, for my safety. If I'm gonna come in contact with that individual.
Okay, did you, I guess to be clear, did you actually see a firearm at that time, or that's just something that you were observing and making note of?
It's just something I observed and made note of. I did not observe a firearm.
Okay, and you would agree with me that that alone would obviously not constitute probable cause to make a traffic stop at that point, right?
Correct.
And so, I guess let me ask it this way. At this point, is it, after observing what you saw at the gas station, is it your intention to stop that vehicle if you can then find some other reason to stop it?
I had already observed that there were window tint on the vehicle.
All right, could you bring up exhibit 1? So you indicated in your report, you said, I observed the suspect vehicle with illegal window tint on the front 2 windows. Is that right?
I observed it, I know, at least from on the passenger window at the gas station.
Okay, but what you wrote in your report is that you, and I can refresh your recollection if you'd like, but what you wrote is you observed the suspect vehicle with illegal window tint on the front 2 windows. Is that right?
That's what's in my report.
Could you play that exhibit? And I'll tell you when to stop.
Hello, sir. You might.
You pause it right there. Now, sir, would you agree with me? May I approach the screen, Judge?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that this portion here that I'm pointing to is the front window, right?
Correct.
And for example, you can pretty clearly see through that, right? Through that window?
From that angle with that lighting, with my flashlight shining on it, yes.
And for example, you can even see very clearly the Chevy logo on the center of the steering wheel, right? That gold emblem there.
Right here. Yeah.
It remains your testimony right now that window that we can observe there is an illegally tinted window.
Yeah, I can't tell on a video with my flashlight shining on it. It's in the dark.
Do you have a way to test whether windows are illegally tinted? Or is it just something that you say, well, that looks from my naked eye to be illegal, so I'm just going to use that as a justification to stop?
I don't have a way to test it.
So, for example, what is the legal amount of tint that you're allowed to have on the front window?
On the front 2 windows in the windshield in the state of Michigan, you can have the top 4 inches tinted. You can have any tint below that.
And it's your testimony, I just want to make sure I'm clear. It's your testimony that this window here, that we can see the Chevy logo, we can see the dashboard, we can see the steering wheel. It's your testimony that window is tinted.
That's what's in my report.
And then, now I know that there was a couple of various things that move on here. You indicated that when you arrived, I'm jumping forward here. You indicated that when you arrived at the scene where Mr. Adams was ultimately taken into custody, you advised that, and again, I guess I'm reading from your report, you advised that you saw a firearm laying on the ground. Is that right?
Correct.
And according to your report, you indicated that you observed a white plastic grocery bag lying next to the firearm, but you believed it to be trash. Is that right?
Correct.
And so that firearm, at that time, that bag, how far away from the incident was it? From where Mr. Adams was in custody?
In proximity of them. So
Can you give me like,
probably within a few feet.
Within a few feet. that itself, you never observed Mr. Adams having any contact with that bag, is that right? Correct. You never, and because of it being a white bag of some sort, you never believed it to be in any way connected to this case. Is that fair to say? At the time that you were there on scene?
Not at that time.
I have no further questions for this one. Thank you.
Redirect.
Yes, Your Honor.
One moment, Your Honor.
Trooper Morgan, let's start with the tip. Would it be fair to say that these videos that we play in court are not necessarily as clear as what you see with your own eye?
Correct.
Would it be fair to say it was nighttime?
Correct.
Would it be fair to say in the clip, in the portion that we stopped the video at exactly, or the defense attorney did, you were shining your flashlight right on the car? Correct. Would shining a flashlight on some tint make it appear more see-through than it is?
Correct.
Was tinted windows the only basis for your stop even?
No.
What was the other basis for your stop?
The EIV equals no status.
Is it unlawful to drive a road on the vehicle with that status?
Correct.
Does that give you a basis for a traffic stop?
Correct.
After attempting to initiate that traffic stop, I know there was mentions of what you can or can't do to test tint. What happened?
He drove away.
Were you able to test things even if you wanted to?
No,
Why not at that time?
because the vehicle fled.
Now, let's back up a little bit to the Sunoco gas station. Are you familiar with the term in your training and experience as a trooper of security touches?
Correct.
What are security touches?
So people that carry firearms, they feel the need to continuously touch that firearm to make sure it's there, it's secure, especially if it's not being carried in a holster, just loose in their waistband.
Did you see the defendant performing security touches at the gas station?
Correct.
Where at?
On his front of his waistband.
At any point, did you see him remove a firearm?
No, I didn't.
Did you see anything concealed on him or any prints or anything like that at that point?
No.
Where did he then go after seeing these security touches?
Into the vehicle.
Was anyone else in the vehicle with him?
No.
To your knowledge, did he interact with anyone else while you were attempting to catch up with him? I guess from the times that you saw him, he had not.
I don't recall him interacting with anybody.
And then at some point was a firearm recovered right next to him on the side.
Correct.
Thank you. I have nothing further for this witness, Your Honor.
Thank you, Trooper Morgan, you may be excused.
Thank you.
You can call your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. People call Trooper Chandler Easterday Louise. Or Easter, excuse me. Just Easter, yeah. I think it changed.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give us the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. You can have a seat. Please state your first and last name, spell roll.
Chandler Easterday Lutz, Chandler. and Easterday is EASTERDAY-LUTZ.
See,
Yes, Your Honor. I'll admit right off the bat, it appears I misread your name. So your name is Easterday Lutz.
Yeah, commonly referred to as Trooper Easterday.
So you say trooper, are you currently employed?
Yes, sir.
Where at?
The Michigan State Police, assigned to the Lansing Post.
What do you do as an assignment to the Lansing Post? What do
Just
you-
a normal road patrol officer, answer calls of service, initiate traffic stops.
You typically work alone or with a partner?
It's half and half, so around midnight or 11 PM, we normally double up to 6 AM. So
How long have you been a trooper for the Michigan State Police?
a little over 2 years.
Do you have any law enforcement experience prior to that?
No, not commissioned. So.
Let me bring you back to the date of July 25th, 2024 at around 12 AM. Were you on duty at that time?
I was.
Were you partnered with someone or alone?
I was partnered with my partner, Trooper Morgan.
And at some point when you were on duty, did you have an interaction at a traffic stop near the location of South Washington Avenue and Holmes Road?
I did, yes.
Could you please describe what happened in that interaction?
We initiated a traffic stop at that venue for EID no and tinted windows. Legal windows in. As we approached the vehicle.
Prior to that traffic stop, did you observe this person at a gas station?
We did. It would be the Sunoco. Martin Luther King near Holmes.
In your training and experience as an officer, are you familiar with what a security touch is?
Yes.
Was this suspect at the Sunoco doing anything that drew your attention?
Yep, so we were sitting across from the gas station, we saw the vehicle pull in with the window. And we saw the driver of the vehicle walk out, doing the security touches.
Where was he touching?
Around his front waistband.
Did you see any firearms openly carried on him at this point?
No.
What did he do after observing him at the gas station?
After observing him at the gas station, we observed him pull out, and that's when we got behind him and ran the plate, which returned EID no, indicating that the vehicle did not have insurance.
Is it lawful to drive a vehicle on the road in the state of Michigan with no insurance?
No.
Would that be the basis for a traffic stop?
It would be.
Did you and Trooper Morgan attempt to perform one?
We did.
What happened?
We initiated a traffic stop. We both got out and approached the vehicle. I approached on the passenger side of the vehicle. Trooper Morgan approached on the driver's side. As we approached the driver, I heard Trooper Morgan ask the driver to roll the window down, and then the driver accelerated to a high rate of speed.
Now, we've already heard some testimony about exactly what happened there, so I won't waste too much time here. At some point, were you able to catch up with this suspect?
Yes, eventually we did. Other troopers had located the vehicle. And
at some point, did this turn into a foot pursuit?
It did, yes.
Did you participate in this foot pursuit?
I did, yep. So I observed other troopers in an active foot pursuit. I then exited the patrol vehicle and engaged in the foot pursuit, running in the same directions.
Do you know who those other troopers were?
Trooper Schaefer, Luke Schaefer, and then Trooper Calvin Harshman.
Did you have a body cam on that night?
I did, yeah. I activated my body camera as I exited the patrol vehicle.
Would you recognize that body camera footage being played, or I guess, did you review it before trial today at all?
I didn't review it today, but I had reviewed it after the incident.
Would you recognize a portion of that body camera footage if it was played for you today?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I would move to pursuant to stipulation, admit and play People's Exhibit number 1C, the body worn camera of Trooper Chandler Easterday Lutz.
One CP published. It was admitted by stipulation.
a way to maybe plug this, or I think because it's going over the Wi-Fi, the video is lagging. It is not that laggy.
There is supposed to be a way for that to link up and you can try it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
You just need the cord.
Yeah.
It's very laggy and I don't want it to be all the time. And for the record, Your Honor, this body worn camera starts on July 25th, 2024 at 00:25:38, approximately 12:25.
State police, stop! You're gonna get tased! Right here! On the ground, right now!
Don't touch that gun, don't reach for it!
I'm gonna try to stop this so we can maybe talk through it since it's a little laggy. For the record, stopping at the 00:26:10. What did we just observe in that portion of your body cam?
That was my involvement in the foot pursuit after I had activated my body.
At some point, did you command this person to stop?
I did. I identified myself as a state police and I wanted to stop.
Would that be a lawful command?
Yes.
Did he stop?
He did not.
Who is this trooper that we see on camera right here?
That would be Trooper Calvin Harshman.
Would it be fair to say Trooper Harshman got there before you?
Yes.
What was the suspect doing at the point you approached? Was he already on the ground or?
So as I rounded the corner there and saw the suspect with Trooper Harshman had him at gunpoint and was giving him commands to get on the ground, which the suspect was doing as I approached.
Now, I think we see some items on the ground in this frame here.
Mhm.
Do you recall?
Yeah, I do. There was a handgun on the ground as well as a grocery bag.
Grocery bag, what kind of grocery bag?
Like a
Paper
normal-
bag, plastic
It
bag?
was like a normal plastic grocery bag that you get at Walmart. I forget what store it was from, but it's just a plastic grocery bag.
Do you recall what color that bag was?
It was white in color,
Where was that bag found in relation to the suspect, the defendant?
right next to the suspect. When he was,
Did you put that bag there?
I did.
Did anyone else, to your knowledge, that's a trooper of the Michigan State Police, put that bag there? Do you know how that bag got there?
Not that I know of. I didn't see the bag until I'd run up to it.
Could you describe what kind of clothing the defendant was wearing when this happened?
Yes, he was wearing a black long sleeve shirt and then camo pants.
Were you in uniform at this time? I know we can't see it on your body camera.
Yes, I was in the same uniform I'm wearing today.
Now, were you the one that actually took the defendant into custody?
I was not. So when I approached the scene, I secured the firearm while the other troopers placed the defendant in custody.
So you secured the firearm?
Correct.
Would you recognize a photograph of that firearm, both how it was recovered and then later at the station, if I was to show you to them today?
Yes.
Show them to you, excuse me. Your Honor, we'll call this People's Exhibit number 1D. It is 1D and 1E. There are two photographs. I've combined them on a PDF just because they're easier to view.
And those were admitted by stipulation.
Yes, Your Honor.
So they can be published.
For the record, Your Honor, exhibit number 1D will be the firearm as it was recovered on the sidewalk. Exhibit 1E will be the firearm, ammunition, and a separate magazine that was brought to the station. What are we looking at on the screen there?
That is the firearm that we recovered at the scene.
Would that be the sidewalk that we just saw in your body worn camera?
Correct.
Would
Yes.
that be the location that the firearm was recovered from?
Yes,
The location that was immediately next to the suspect home,
correct.
within a couple feet,
I would, less than a couple feet, I would say.
within a foot?
Yeah, I would say, within 1 to 2 feet of the suspect.
Showing you people's exhibit number 1E. What are we looking at here?
So that's again the firearm, the magazine, the longer one you see on the bottom, the straight one is the magazine that was in the firearm. Those bullets below that magazine were the bullets that were located in the magazine, which was in the firearm. On the top there, you see a drum style magazine, again with multiple more rounds, that was located in the grocery bag next to that.
We haven't seen this drum magazine yet. Could you describe, was that on his person? How did you, do you know how that was recovered?
So that drum magazine was, like I said, it was in that grocery bag on the scene where we took the suspect into custody. We initially didn't touch that grocery bag.
I guess I'm just gonna object here, Judge. It's not clear. Maybe he does. But I'm not clear that this witness can testify to the recovery of the drum magazine. Certainly to the gun and the magazine that was in the gun. I have no objections to that. I'm not sure that this witness has a foundation to
Testify as to the recovery of what?
of the drum magazine, the magazine and the ammunition that we see at the top there, the circular thing.
Right. You want to address that objection?
Your Honor, he did not specifically pick up the magazine and recover it. That was a separate officer, Officer Piper Harris, who we do have body worn camera ready to testify. This was simply to explain his steps in the investigation since we're looking at the photo.
Okay, so the objection is noted and sustained. It sounds like he's gonna call another officer though.
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Okay, thank you.
We'll leave that aside for now.
Thank you.
Do you recall what kind of ammunition this was?
This was 45 caliber ammunition. It was the same caliber for the firearm.
The firearm we're looking at on the photo there, it's the same caliber of the ammunition.
Correct, yeah, it's a 45 caliber handgun, and the ammo that was recovered in the handgun in the magazine was 45 caliber.
Is 45 caliber common or?
45 caliber ammo is a common round. It's a bigger round than your average 9mm round, so it's actually a pretty heavy round.
Would it be fair to say most people carry it around? I'll leave that alone. Was this magazine not the, leaving aside the drum one for now, the other one that was in the gun? Is that a normal magazine? Was it extended? Do you know?
So if you look at that magazine, the black part on the bottom, again, it's for training experience with firearms. That's what we would consider an extended magazine. That magazine is designed to carry more rounds than the magazine designed for.
Now, I know we talked about you didn't actually arrest and detain the suspect, but at some point, did you take a statement from him?
Correct. After the suspect in the firearm was secured, we secured the suspect in the front seat of our patrol vehicle. And I conducted just a quick on-scene interview with the suspect in the patrol.
Did you give him Miranda warnings before doing that?
I did. Often I issued G52 Miranda warning card.
Did he indicate he understood his warnings?
Yes.
Did he indicate he wanted to still answer your questions?
Yes.
One more preliminary question. We've been saying the suspect. Do you know who that person was once you interviewed them?
It would be the defendant who's sitting there.
Your Honor, please let the record reflect he is gestured to the defendant sitting in court.
Any objection to identification?
I have no objection for the purposes of the.
Do you know who that defendant was, what their name is?
Gavin, Powell.
During your conversation with the defendant, were you able to, or did he indicate in any way whether or not He was supposed to have a firearm on him?
One question, or one statement that the defendant did make is that he was a convicted felon, and he is not supposed to have one.
Did he admit to having this firearm on him?
He did, yes.
Did he admit to the drum magazine?
No.
Did he say whose firearm this was or try to give you an alternative conclusion?
The defendant advised that it was his brother's firearm, and he was returning it to his brother.
Did he advise whether or not he understood about the initial traffic stop and decided to ignore?
He did. So as far as the initial traffic stop went, he had advised that one of his friends had recently gotten arrested for possessing a firearm, and he did not want to go to jail.
Your Honor, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Thank you. I just have a few questions. Good morning, Trooper.
Good morning.
So you were in the vehicle, I guess you were the, front seat passenger of the vehicle that initially executed the very first traffic stop, is that right?
Correct.
And so you're not driving, obviously, at this point, right? And so there was some, we don't need to go into detail, and that's not what I'm asking you for here, but there was some time where you sort of saw the vehicle leave, made potential contact with it again, and then it ran off again. Is that right?
You're saying after the initial stop?
Yeah, yeah. So well, there was two incidents. There's an initial flee and elude, right, where the vehicle took off, and then at some point you came into contact with it a second time, and it, I guess, took off again. Is that right?
Correct. It was on Holmes Road. I forget the cross street, but
yeah, that's fair. I guess what I'm getting at here is, and then you didn't initially see the vehicle again after that, right? Like there was some sort of a radio communication that one of the other troopers that was involved in this chase, I guess, had located the suspect on foot. Is that right?
So we had saw him in the vehicle at the time of the stop. We had saw him again on Holmes Road, as we had discussed. Obviously saw him flee from that scene.
Sure.
And then we had started giving BOLs in the area in which other officers had.
And just to be clear, BOL is beyond lookout.
Correct. Yeah.
And so then at some point, a short time later, you heard, I guess, I'm assuming over the radio, you heard that they had located this individual. Is that right?
Correct.
Another trooper had located
yes.
it. And by the time you heard that, some other trooper was giving chase, right?
Correct.
And when you exited your vehicle, well, we saw your body cam, right? Is that yes?
Correct.
Yeah, fair. I do it too. They have to say yes and no and that kind of thing. When you exited the vehicle, when you exited your vehicle and started pursuing on foot, were you actually able to see the individual that you were pursuing, or were you running to an area based on what you were being told by other officers?
So when we arrived at the scene, when the initial troopers when the troopers had found the suspect, we weren't that far away. So by the time I got on my vehicle, I heard the voices, ran towards that direction, and then saw a glimpse of the suspect.
You saw a glimpse of him like running from I think you indicate from right to left.
In the complex. I forget which directions it was.
Do you know how far away from him are you at that point? Do you know?
I would say approximately 100 yards.
And then you lose sight of him again, right?
Correct.
And then by the time you see him again, Trooper Harshman already has him, I guess, in custody or at least detained.
Correct.
We saw on the body camera that you made some statement about police, you're going to get tased, right? Something to that effect. I don't mean that as a direct quote, but you made some comment to that effect.
Correct.
Do you recall at the time you made that comment, do you recall how far away you were from the suspect?
Honestly, I can't recall.
That's fair. Do you recall whether he was in your sight of line of vision at the time you made the statement?
He was in my sight of vision. That's why I made that statement.
Got it. Was it, do you know if at that point it was 20, I know you can't recall for sure, but do you have any idea? Like, was it 20 yards? Was it still 50 yards, 100 yards?
Again, it would be at best a complete guess as
Fair.
far as distance goes.
Fair enough. I have no further questions.
We redirected this option.
Briefly, Your Honor, yes. Trooper Easterday, let's just describe those two separate instances of fleeing one more time.
Okay.
So you initiate the traffic stop and then he flees. Is that fair?
Yes.
You attempt to pursue and then what happens?
We terminated the pursuit from the initial fleet. Radio to officers in the area that we had just had a vehicle flee from us, gave them a description of the vehicle. Officers from the area started coming in closer. They located him in another direction, called out which direction he was going. So we started towards that way. And again, it was on Holmes Road after we get across. And we had seen him drive right past us. We activated our lights and he just continued to go at a high rate of speed, blowing through red lights.
Would it refresh your memory on what the cross street was if I approach you with a copy of your report?
Yes.
Permission to approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Please look at your report and then you can look back up at me when you're done. That refresh your memory as to
Yes.
the cross street?
Yes.
What was that cross street?
It was Palmer Street.
So we had one traffic stop on Washington and Holmes there.
Correct.
Another, well, attempted stop, I should say.
Yes.
And then another separate attempted stop after you had terminated a pursuit and put out a VOL on the cross section of Holmes Road and Palmer.
Correct.
At this point, did you attempt to stop the suspect again?
On Holmes and Palmer, there's another unit there with its lights on at the intersection. We were traveling westbound. We observed the vehicle at a high rate of speed coming eastbound. We then activated our lights and pulled behind the vehicle and continued to go at a high rate.
Did you stop after you did that?
We did not.
What were you attempting to do when you activated your lights?
Initiate traffic stop.
And maybe this is a silly question. Did the drivers ever change of the car?
No.
Who is the driver?
It was different.
The whole time for both stops?
Correct.
Or attempted stops? Thank you. No further questions, sir.
Okay, thank you, Trooper Easterday. Let's maybe excuse.
Your Honor, at this time, the people would call Trooper Calvin Harshman to the stand.
Could I have just a second?
No problem.
Yep. Is it all right?
Off the record. Will you
Yes.
take him with you, me, or
No, not
Oh,
yet.
off the record?
You just need to-
Do you want me to wait?
Yeah, you can just have a seat there.
You sent an email yesterday saying something about we may have problems if you didn't upload the new link and sent again.
What did they say that was like?
I updated it on your computer.
That was,
but-
I know I was on vacation when.
Your Honor, I've never actually had this happen before. My client has indicated to me that at this point, he has heard enough, would like to waive the preliminary examination or waive any further witnesses regarding the preliminary examination. I don't know exactly how that would work. Obviously, we've taken testimony. So I don't, taken some testimony regarding most of the counts, not all, I guess, technically. I've never had it happen, so I don't know exactly whether that's even a thing, but I guess at this point, he
You
would.
can always waive.
he is asking to waive the preliminary examination. I guess it would be, I don't know that there's any way to say, well, we're waiving on these counts and not these counts. I think it's either it is or
It's
isn't
an
a waiver.
unconditional waiver.
So,
It'll
I
have to
mean,
be as charged if that's what he wants to do.
yeah, I understand, Judge, and that, my understanding is that that's what he wants to do. It's it would be an unconditional waiver.
For a show approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Obviously, the people have no objection to that, Your Honor. We just ask you down over his term.
That's telling me to serve the remote server returned and now.
I think you do have to sign some. The new form, you didn't used to.
I did get one a couple of times yesterday, and then eventually let me in.
So wait. Oh, gotcha. When did you take it?
Thinking about having
Sure.
this,
Are you gonna work?
my
full time?
file stuff.
I'm full time. Oh, all right. So they're just gonna like roll you in.
Assuming like that.
Well,
Right on,
I
getting
think
that
it's
right around.
web-based
I hope that happens for you.
It's 23. I downloaded it.
On mine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why.
All right, so this is basically, I'm gonna have you sign it. I want to go over this real quick. This is either as a request court-appointed attorney from the full one against me. You have the right to come in and use it. We should have charged with crime. Voluntarily waive the right to make a motion. With that.
Let's see here.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so Mr. Adams, I see you've now elected and signed the waiver and bind over. So you do not wish to continue with your examination?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that the burden is on the prosecution to establish that they have sufficient probable cause that these crimes were committed and probable cause to charge you with these crimes, correct? I think this is a 16 count complaint with an habitual offender for defense notice, and you're waiving your exam. You want this matter bound over, and your waiver will be unconditional, meaning there's been no offers or things to entice you to do that waiver, correct? Okay, and you know that once this matter is sent to the circuit court, if you decide you don't like your offer, or if no offer is extended, you know you can't change your mind and come back to finish your exam. You understand that? Find your waiver to be freely and voluntarily given. The matter will be bound over to the circuit court. Bind over date is going to be August 28th. And that's the date the circuit court will get the file from the district court. You do not need to appear in the court on that date unless Mr. Palmer has a motion to have you rearranged, okay?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, if I may, just for the record. Thank you.
So your next court date will then be a pretrial, and you had a
Just for
question
the
or
record,
something
Your
to
Honor.
add, yes.
Yes, an offer was extended on this case. Essentially, the offer was to waive it up to circuit court, continue talks there. My understanding is that talks are going to continue there, and that they might discuss HYTA status, things like that. We haven't offered it at this point, but it's my understanding that one of the more experienced prosecutors than I would be able to have those conversations at circuit court.
And that's all accurate from my understanding, Your Honor. I fully anticipate that negotiations will continue.
So I will note that in the file. The bond was set at 5,000, 10%. Any reason to address bond today? upon will continue.
Thank you. I'm not asking you to respond.
No problem. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing further for the people. Thank you. Nothing from the defense, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. You're all set.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Make
And
sure
you
you
have
do
a,
call.
stipulated
Officer.
exhibit here.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.